The club was my escape. The bass thumped through my chest, the neon lights flickered in rhythm, and for a few hours every night, the world outside didn't exist. That's where I first noticed Felix. He wasn't flashy. He didn't dance or draw attention like performers on stage, but there was something about the way he moved behind the counter that caught my eye. He was efficient, calm, and had this quiet confidence that made everyone notice him, even if they didn't realize it. I started coming every night, initially just out of habit, but soon I found myself looking forward to seeing him. Felix, 25, dark brown hair slightly messy, piercing green eyes, medium build, wearing the same club worker uniform, a fitted black shirt and dark jeans, always greeted me with a subtle smile that made my chest tighten. I didn't expect a club worker to make my heart race, but every time Felix caught my eye, I felt it electric, undeniable, terrifying. One evening, I lingered by the bar longer than usual. Felix noticed, of course, and leaned against the counter near me. His expression was casual, but his eyes lingered longer than necessary. "You come here a lot," he said, almost teasingly, but the way his voice dropped slightly made me shiver. I laughed, trying to hide my nerves. "Yeah, guess I do." He smiled, that small, knowing curve of his lips, and suddenly it wasn't small talk anymore. There was a tension between us I couldn't ignore. My gaze flicked to his hands as he wiped down the counter. Callous, strong yet careful, and I felt a strange pull. It wasn't the flirting I'd expected. It was subtle, almost dangerous. It made me realize I wanted more than just his smile. Over the next few weeks, I found myself lingering even when I didn't feel like it. Felix noticed my presence, and soon our conversations went beyond "what's your drink?" and "enjoy your night." He asked about my day, my work, even the smallest details I'd normally keep to myself. One late night, the club had thinned out. He leaned on the counter, eyes scanning mine with an intensity that made me forget the music, the lights, everything. "Why do you come here so often?" he asked quietly, almost shy. "I don't know," I admitted, my voice low. "I like seeing you." There it was, my confession, unplanned, hanging in the air. Felix's eyes widened slightly, then softened. He stepped closer, just a fraction, and said, "I'm glad you do." I felt it then, the undeniable spark. Something more than attraction, something that had been quietly building since the first night I noticed him. A few nights later, after closing, Felix asked me to help him carry some empty crates out back. Alone, under the dim security lights of the alley, the world felt quiet and removed from everything else. His hand brushed mine as we lifted a crate together. The touch lingered longer than necessary, and I could feel my heartbeat echoing in my ears. You're different from the others," he said softly, not looking at me but at the crate we were holding. "I like that about you." My breath caught. I wanted to tell him everything, that I'd been thinking about him nonstop, that his smile haunted me, that I wanted more than just casual conversation, but the words caught in my throat. Instead, I let my fingers brush his. His eyes met mine, and in that brief, electric moment, I knew the club worker I had noticed from afar was now the man I couldn't stop thinking about. I realized something terrifying and thrilling. I had fallen for Felix, and every small gesture, every look, was pulling me deeper into something I wasn't ready to name, but I couldn't resist. That night, as we parted ways under the dim alley lights, I caught him looking back at me, a subtle smile tugging at his lips. My mind raced with possibilities, what this could mean, how far I'd dare to go, what it would feel like to finally cross that line. I left the club with a mixture of excitement and dread, knowing that my nightly visits were no longer about escaping the world. They were about him, and the realization hit hard. Felix, the club worker, was becoming the center of my thoughts, my feelings, my late-night dreams. I didn't know what would happen next, but one thing was certain. I couldn't stop thinking about him, and I wasn't sure I wanted to. The next few nights at the club were electric. Every time Felix looked at me, there was a spark I couldn't ignore. The way he moved behind the counter, the casual brush of his hands as he passed me a drink, even the subtle curve of his smile. It all made my chest tighten. I realized that this wasn't just attraction anymore. It was something deeper, something I couldn't push aside. One night, after closing, he invited me to help him clean up. The club was silent, neon lights off, only the hum of the street outside filtering in. As we stacked chairs and wiped counters, our hands brushed repeatedly. Each accidental touch lingered, electricity running through me. Every time our fingers met, every glance held a hidden promise. I felt the walls around my heart crumble. Felix was no longer just a club worker. He was the man I wanted. Later, we stepped outside into the cool night air. The city was quiet, the neon glow fading behind us. Felix turned to me, his green eyes locking on mine. "You've been coming here every night, not just to the club, right?" His voice was low, hesitant, but edged with warmth. I swallowed hard, heat rising in my chest. I can't stop thinking about you," I admitted, words trembling but true. His lips curved into a soft, almost shy smile. "I was hoping you felt the same." In that instant, everything changed. The alley, the quiet street, the empty city, it all disappeared. There was only him, and the realization that what I had been feeling was mutual. From that night onward, our connection grew fast but natural. We met outside of the club, sharing coffee and late-night walks, laughing about small things, learning about each other in ways no one else could understand. Felix, who had always been confident yet quiet, revealed layers I had never expected. I found myself craving his presence, waiting for his messages, remembering the way his hand felt against mine. One rainy evening, as we walked together under a shared umbrella, I reached out and held his hand. His fingers intertwined with mine effortlessly, and he squeezed gently. I looked at him, feeling something bold and reckless stir inside me. I realized then that I didn't want to hide anything anymore. I didn't want casual touches or fleeting glances. I wanted him fully, completely, and I wanted him to want me too. A week later, Felix invited me over after his shift. His apartment was warm, soft music playing, candles lit. He motioned for me to sit, and then slowly he stepped closer. "I don't want to keep this a secret anymore," he said, voice low, eyes intense. "I like you. I've liked you for weeks." My heart raced, my breath caught, and for a moment I couldn't speak. Then I stepped forward, closing the distance between us. "I like you too," I whispered. Then, without thinking, we kissed. Soft, urgent, everything we'd been holding back spilling into a single, perfect moment. It was bold, raw, and right. Felix, the man I had admired from afar, was now mine in every sense. From that night on, we were inseparable. Every outing, every conversation, every shared silence strengthened our bond. What had begun as nightly visits to a club had transformed into a bold, passionate romance. Felix, once just a quiet club worker behind the counter, was now the man I couldn't stop loving, the one I wanted to see in every part of my life. We faced small challenges, judgments, work schedules, and the fear of being seen, but each obstacle only brought us closer. By the time we celebrated 3 months together, I knew there was no going back. Felix wasn't just part of my world. He was my world. From a casual glance across a crowded club to long nights of whispered confessions and tender touches, Felix had turned from a simple club worker into the man I couldn't stop loving. And I never wanted to stop.